Stanford coming this coming weekend for the regular season finale for the BYU football program. Talk with Clark Barrington about that. We also talk about senior day, how he felt, obviously going in versus what actually happened on the field against Utah Tech. All of that and more ahead on today's show.
You are Locked On Cougars, your daily podcast on the BYU Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jake Hatch, your host here on Locked On Cougars, your resident BYU insider. Thank you for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. We're very proud to be part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And, of course, we are your only daily podcast focused on the BYU Cougars. Please now to welcome in BYU guard, captain, and All-American, Clark Barrington. Clark, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
So let's start by looking back before we look forward here. Obviously, this past Saturday was senior day out there at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. You were among the 37 players honored on the field after the game. I guess first question I've got for you, and this is a similar question I asked to Pepe Tanuvasa during media availability this week. What did you expect out of senior day going in versus what actually happened? Were they the same or were they different?
Honestly, I don't know. I think what I expect, I don't know. I expected to go out and play another football game. And I guess that's what I got as well. No, I guess I expected maybe a little bit more, of an emotional kind of time, but it ended up just being a lot of fun. And being able to kind of just embrace, the time that I had there and embrace, playing there one last time or whatnot. And I think it was just a lot more fun feeling than super emotional type of thing. So.
Well, I can understand that because I think you probably anticipate, okay, how are my emotions going to be in this game, that type of stuff. But it sounds like you managed them fairly well. Let's talk a little bit about the game itself. No, we'll kind of talk about the stuff after the game here in just a moment, but get off to a slow start. But in the second quarter, you guys start trading touchdown for touchdown on both sides of the field. And then in the second half, BYU's defense stepped up. Your teammates stepped up on defense, and you guys just cruised on offense. So can you kind of give me your overall evaluation of how the game went in its entirety?
Yeah, we definitely could have played better, in that first quarter for sure. We had the ball a couple of times and we just didn't execute to the level we should, and the game stayed really close because of that. I think we did a good job going in at halftime, realizing that this game could be a shootout or whatnot, and just stepping up to the occasion and doing what we needed to finish the game right. So.
Now, you guys piled up 676 total yards of offense, and that's a monster number in terms of yardage. You pile up 52 points. Did you accomplish, in your mind, did you guys accomplish everything you wanted to accomplish ultimately in the end? Yeah,
I think so, for sure. No, in the end, the best thing that could come of it is a win, and so that's what happened, and we were excited about that. Maybe it wasn't a blowout from the get-go, but I think we were able to accomplish the things we needed to accomplish. So
now you guys get to bowl eligibility officially. How good does that feel to know that, hey, you have a 13th game coming up?
Yeah, it's for sure fun. It's another opportunity to be able to play with the guys and play with the guys you've been playing with for a while, and it's just another opportunity to spend time with these guys and make those memories and just continue to grow closer with one another. So
now, senior day, as I mentioned, 37 guys honored after the game. The festivities took a little while because that's a lot of guys.
Yeah, for sure.
I know that Gunnar Romney didn't do it, and Coach Satake said that Gunnar had done it last year and was essentially like, I've already done this. I'm not doing it again this year. But
yeah.
How was it to have your family, your parents, obviously your wife out there on the field with you to celebrate what might be the final time you play at Lavelle Edwards Stadium?
Yeah, it was good. It's always nice to have the support of loved ones, and so it was nice to have them out on the field, supporting me through this time. So
Who was the most emotional?
I don't know if any of them really were.
Okay.
I think it's just just taking it all in, enjoying the moments, and kind of moving on. So
Now, with 37 guys, whether they're COVID sophomores, COVID juniors, guys who are actually seniors, there are 13 guys who are actually seniors. You fall in the COVID junior category, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah,
that could be a lot of dudes leaving the program, whether it's for the NFL. A guy like Pepe Cannavaso who said, I'm eschewing going to the NFL. I've actually got job offers over here in the real world I'm going to pursue. But if ultimately the majority of those guys, if all 37 of you guys leave, how much confidence do you have in BYU, I guess, Coach Sitake's ability to essentially replace that monster amount of talent that might depart the program?
yeah, that's a lot of talent for sure to have to replace, and that's a big task. I think it could be difficult. But just like we thought a couple years ago, after losing Zach and Brady and Kyrus and Dax and whoever else went, there were quite a few guys that left to the league and left and did other things as well. I think you saw a good bounce back, and you just still saw a lot of good production. And so I don't know what's to come in the future, but I think there could be good things for sure.
Yeah, if I recall that group, 12 of them got NFL opportunities, and obviously there were more guys than that didn't necessarily maybe get the pro opportunities, but just kind of moved on. So you're right.
Yeah.
There is precedent there, I guess, for the BYU football program to have a large amount of talent ultimately depart and still be able to continue on. Now, I guess I'm going to ask you this question. I'm not going to ask you about what your decision has been with regards to the future, but when will you make that decision? And I guess have made that decision and you're just sitting on it.
Yeah, I think the decision will come after the season, after everything's said and done. I'm just trying to live in the here and now and control what I can control and do those things. So we'll see what happens when the time comes.
Okay, I've got one more question about that, and it's an interesting one. I've had conversations with other people about. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But first, let's get to one of our great sponsors, and that's our friends over at Nissan. And Clark, you've done this enough with me, talking about these thrilling moments. Our partners over at Nissan are bringing you thrilling moments from college football. The thrilling designs behind the new lineup from Nissan are intended to empower drivers and vehicles as capable as the drivers themselves. When we think of unbelievable abilities on the field for this week's thrilling moment at BYU, Clark, what play would you highlight the most?
I'm just gonna give it to Keanu Hill.
Okay.
And all the plays he made, especially in the second quarter. He had 3 touchdowns in the second quarter, and he kind of single-handedly kept us in the game. So, he's just a playmaker, and he did a good job that game. So.
Now, Keanu, just real quick, kind of give me an anecdote. He seems to be the overlooked guy in that wide receiving core, but all he's done all year is seemingly make plays. Is that kind of your assessment of him?
Yeah, for sure. He kind of slips under the radar, and he just quietly does his job, and he does it well, and whenever his name is called, he's ready to make those plays. So he's
Yeah,
a
well,
good guy for sure.
and had you not picked Keanu Hill in the hat trick in the second quarter, I was going to pick it. But I guess for my pick, I'll go with Chase Roberts. That 59-yard touchdown bomb, just a thing of beauty. And that showed off his ability as a wide receiver to get downfield, obviously busted coverage. And at the same time, Jaron Hall, what a pass. And Jaron had a monster day, career high 456 yards passing, 5 touchdowns passing, 1 rushing. Pretty incredible performance, all things considered.
For sure.
Now, so that's our thrilling moment this week, brought to you by our friends over at Nissan. This segment has been inspired by the thrilling new designs featured across Nissan's new lineup of vehicles. Pursue what thrills you in the all-new Frontier, Armada, or Pathfinder today. It's all available now at nissanusa.com. All right, let's continue on here with Clark Barrington on the Clark Barrington Show here on Locked On Cougars. Just a quick reminder for your second listen today, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with the local experts and insights only the Locked On Podcast Network can provide. Locked On Sports Today is available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. All right, Clark. So I promised I was going to ask you a second question about this. Now, you said you're going to, when all is said and done, the season's done, you'll make your decision about what your future is, whether to return to BYU, pursue the pro ranks, whatever it might be. But I wanted to ask you, when do you guys typically file for feedback from the NFL? Has that already happened, or when will it happen?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Okay, fair enough.
That's something I think, our coaches and other staff members handle. So I know it's coming up here soon, and I think we get the feedback, towards maybe a little bit closer to the bowl game.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
So would that be Coach Funk who would file it? Would it be Coach Satake? Who
I think it's our, we have like a NFL relations.
Oh, okay, yeah. Is
type of guy.
that Jason Ayu, or did somebody take over that role from him?
It's it's somebody else. Not these days,
Okay.
I think.
There's Justin Anderson, Patrick Hickman, all those guys now behind the scenes there. So
right, it's bounced around. So honestly, I'm not sure who exactly, but
great. So you expected sometime in December then to get that feedback?
I think so, yeah.
And I guess one quick follow-up on that. How much will that evaluation from NFL scouts and personnel play into your decision?
I think we'll play a big deal amount into my decision. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, great. All right, so there we go. We talked about what's going on with Utah Tech, your future, but let's talk about the regular season finale this weekend. You guys are headed to Stanford. Only the second Pac-12 team you guys have faced this year. You faced Oregon earlier on this season. It was a rough loss, to say the least, up there in Eugene. But you guys are headed out to the farm, to Palo Alto, to face off against the Stanford Cardinal. Kind of just give me your overall sense of Stanford. They're a program who's produced high-level linemen, tight ends. They're like they do a lot of what BYU does, it feels like, in many ways. But give me your sense for the Cardinal.
Yeah, they're a great program, just like you said. That they've had lots of success and those things. They're not having the best of year this year, but you can tell just from their film and everything. They're going to come out and play their hardest and give it their all, no matter the win or loss. And so, we're just preparing our best for them, and we're excited to be able to go down there and play them. The BYU team has never beaten Stanford. We've only played them twice, but I think that's one thing that we're looking forward to hopefully doing. Hopefully getting the record books and be the first team to beat Stanford, and we're excited about that opportunity to go down there and play a good team. So,
do you know much about those two games that they played in the early 2000s?
Honestly, not a ton, no.
Okay, so there was a moment when BYU, so it was a home and home. So they played one game in Provo, if I recall correctly, and there's a game out in Palo Alto, like you guys are going to do this weekend. And the Stanford band, they're world famous. They do things to their beat, their own beat of the drummer. Let's just put it that way. And let's just put it this way, made some insensitive comments about the LDS church, polygamy, and that type of stuff. And ultimately, after the game, had to actually ultimately issue a public apology for it. But it'll be interesting to see how they handle it this weekend.
That'll be fun.
Now, obviously, this is a big game. You guys want to get to 7-5, I would imagine. You like to clinch that winning season. How far do you feel like a win this weekend would go towards, I guess, quote unquote, salvaging what it has been, I guess, a down season compared to what you guys have done the past 2 years?
Yeah, I think it would do a lot. It gives us the opportunity to get 8 wins still, which I feel like is still a pretty solid season. If we do fall to that 6-6, I think that puts a little bit of a dampener on the outlook on the season and all that. But I think we're for sure striving to get that win and doing everything within our power to do so. So.
Now, have you given any thought, or has anybody even brought up the fact that this is the final regular season game of the independent era for BYU?
Honestly, not really. No.
Okay.
Just kind of, I guess it's the only thing we've really known, and so we'll see what it's like to be in a conference when we get there, and we're just doing our thing right now. So,
give me your sense. I guess this is my question, is because I've overall, I would say the independent era has been enjoyable. I would in my mind for the most part. You as a player, you've played your entire playing career as a part of an independent program. So you've played all over the country. You've played a myriad of different opponents. You played in states all over the union. Give me your sense for how independence has treated the BYU football program.
I think it's been a cool experience. Just like you said, traveling everywhere, playing a bunch of different teams, seeing a bunch of different places and experiencing, a bunch of different things. I think it's also, cool to be in a conference. I guess we kind of had that conference feel a little bit with like Utah State and
Boise.
Boise State. Just being able to play them year in and year out, and I think kind of just getting a hatred for for certain teams is a fun thing. Different rivalries and whatnot. So I think with the conference, joining the conference, there are those aspects that you miss, in independence. But I don't know. I think independence has been fun. It's been a good experience. But I think it will be fun to gain those rivalries and whatnot for BYU as well. So.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you who your least favorite team in independence you've played because I don't want to give any bulletin board material out there. But I guess in terms of the rivalry games, Utah State, Boise State, which of those in your mind was the funnest of those rivalry matchups you played in?
I've got to say the Utah game.
Okay.
This last season. It was just fun to be able to play them. It was my only time playing them.
Okay.
And so, come out on top was a good feeling. And then, it was just a fun overall game. So I'd say that one for sure.
You're one of the rare BYU football players who can say that you went undefeated against the Utes because that you said that's the only time you actually ever suited up against the Utes.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's a fun little tidbit to have. I was undefeated against the U.
Yep.
That's what we like. That's what we like to hear. All right. So, it's also Thanksgiving this week, and I want to talk to you about a little bit about Thanksgiving, that type of stuff. We'll get to that in just a moment, but first, need to get a word in our friends over at BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for all of your sports betting information, stats, news, and analysis. Clark, I'm not going to ask you to guess this because I don't want to get you in trouble, but this week, BYU is a 6.5-point favorite from our friends at BetOnline out there at Stanford. You guys are the road favorite out there when you take on the Cardinal. But you guys can get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball to soccer with the World Cup underway and esports. They've got it all at BetOnline. And if you love sports podcasts like this one, you also can find those at BetOnline as well. They are the fastest and the easiest way to get your betting fixed, whether it's live betting, futures odds, no matter what it is. You can do it all with our friends at BetOnline. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. That's BetOnline, where the game starts. Also brought to you today by our friends over at Utah Community Credit Union. They are offering a special 15-month savings certificate with an incredibly high APY of 4.00%. The best part is, during that during that time, the 15 months, you can actually jump up to an even higher rate of return anytime during the life of your certificate. The best part is, interest rates and inflation seem to always be on the rise lately, so that's why they're offering this special offer. You can get it for as low as $500 to start, so this is a great offer for every opportunity of every saver, both big or small. And the best part is, UCCU can help you do it via the phone. You can go into any branch. You also can call them or do it online, at uccu.com. They'd love nothing more than to help you guys out with that. And the best part is, it gives you a higher yield than any regular savings account. So get on it, my friends. It's only available for a limited time. And the best part is, they got a variety of term options to match your specific needs. So reach out to UCCU now. Go to uccu.com to learn more, to get started on that savings certificate today. That's Utah Community Credit Union. Love where you bank. Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. As we continue on here with Clark Barrington, BYU team captain, offensive guard, and All-American. Now, Clark, Thanksgiving. You guys, you've played enough of these games where you have Thanksgiving in the middle of the week. I know Thursday, not necessarily, it's kind of the back half of the week. How do you at BYU handle Thanksgiving and obviously continuing to get ready for a game?
Yeah, no, it's a little bit different. We have a little bit of an early practice on Thursday. Try to get that out of the way, and then give people time to go to their families or friends or whatever. for Thanksgiving dinner. Spend that with them.
So are you guys, I know your parents live locally. Are you headed to your parents' house for Thanksgiving, or what are your plans?
So they're actually going to be on their way to Stanford. So
Okay.
we're me, Brooke, Campbell, and his wife, Hannah. We're going to do a little something. And I think Connor Pay is going to come over as well.
Okay.
'Cause I think his parents are going to be out of town. Maybe they're headed to the game too. I'm not sure, but we're all going to come together. I think I'm going to just run over and get some KFC chicken or something.
I'm going to do a turkey, Clark? Come on.
No, that's a little too much work for us. So
Okay.
my wife's going to make, the green bean casserole, mashed potatoes, whatever else. But I said I can handle the meat, and I'll run over to KFC and grab some chicken. So
It's the turducken. Come on, folks. That's what we're
yeah,
doing here.
exactly.
And the best part is if you go to KFC, I know some people like mac and cheese. Well, you can get the mac and cheese there if you really want to.
It's true. It's true.
Okay, so let me ask you about Thanksgiving. When it's your traditional Thanksgiving, when you actually have your family and whatnot, the Barrington Thanksgiving, what goes on Clark Barrington's first plate?
Oh gosh, some ham.
Okay, so you're a ham guy. Okay.
Yeah, our family is usually a ham family. So
Well, I can let me just let you in a little secret. My wife and I, we will, if we have the opportunity, we will always go for ham over turkey. That's just the hatch.
for sure. Yeah, we've tried some turkeys. We're just not the best at getting a nice moist turkey. So we picked the ham over the turkey.
Okay. So ham. What else we got?
Ham, some mashed potatoes, some stuffing.
Okay.
Do a little bit of the green bean casserole. I think that's, and some good rolls. Maybe stop at Shirley's and grab some rolls there or whatnot. So
good call on the Shirley's, by the way. Now, There's only one problem with your plate, Clark, and this is just me. Green bean casserole. You can have my portion.
Sounds good. Good.
That is not my cup of tea. And my entire family, my extended family, like my parents, my siblings, all love it. My wife loves it. I always tell them, you all can eat my portion. Don't worry, I got it for you here.
That's awesome.
Now, okay, when it comes to stuffing, obviously, there are people who are like hard and fast on it's got to be homemade stuffing. There are people that just love the stovetop, like the store-bought, the box stuff. What's your preferred version of stuffing?
Honestly, any of it's great.
Okay.
If I was making it, it would be the stovetop. So
you need both, dude. Stovetop to me, why put in all that extra effort when stovetop is fantastic?
Exactly. That's the reason I'm going to KFC.
My man, Clark. You got this down to a science, my man.
Yep.
Now, okay. You mentioned the fact it's going to be you, your wife, Campbell, his wife, and then Connor's going to come over. So you got 3 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
How much KFC chicken are you guys actually going to need?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that one out. I'll probably ask Campbell and Connor when it gets a little bit closer, but I'm thinking at least two buckets. So.
Well, here's the thing. In my mind, I was like, I'm going to put the over under at 24 pieces of chicken. So,
yeah.
And that's just between the 3 of you. I'm going to leave your wives out of that conversation. I'm just saying for you 3 linemen.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel you guys are pretty big eaters.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see how much I purchase. So.
All right. Okay. Now for the most important question, sweet potato pie, pumpkin pie, pecan pie. Like, are you a pie guy first off? And if so, what is the pie of choice for Clark?
Yeah. I'll do a little bit of pie. I enjoy, a good old chocolate pie.
Okay.
Or a nice apple pie with some ice cream.
All right.
Or pumpkin pie with some whipped cream. I'll do a little smorgasbord of all 3 of those.
So Clark Barrington, equal opportunity pie lover. It sounds like.
Exactly.
I can respect that. And that the pies, obviously, it's a very much a Thanksgiving thing. I actually had somebody tell me that their family, and this was like you talk about the fact that you're a ham family. I'm the same way in my house, but they're a cake family on Thanksgiving. I about fell out of my chair when they told me. I'm like, cake? What? What's going on here?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so one of those weird things. All right, well, Clark, now, obviously, you mentioned that you guys are going to practice early. Will you guys be traveling to Stanford early, or is it your regular Friday departure going to the West Coast?
Just the regular Friday departure, so.
Now, this will be your second to last road trip. Is there anything in particular you'll change up, or are you just going to treat it like any other trip?
I think I'll just treat it like any other. Keep doing the same old thing.
Now, you've talked about the fact that you guys get loaded up with food. Do you actually ever finish all that food on the plane?
No, never.
Okay.
Never. Sometimes I'll bring back the snacks to the house or whatnot, but most of the other stuff I think just gets tossed. But
okay. Well, hey, I can respect that. You guys do get your fair share of food. There's no doubt about it.
Oh yeah.
Well, Clark, wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful to you for joining us all year long. Let me just get that publicly out of the way there. But looking forward to catching up with you next week after the regular season wraps up. Hopefully by then we'll know. Maybe we may not know quite yet. We'll have a better idea, hopefully, of your bowl destination, and we'll talk more then.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, there you go. That is Clark Barrington. A big thank you to all of you for making us your first listen today. Always appreciate you guys checking out the show. Have a happy Thanksgiving to you all. We'll be back on Friday, making sure you guys are caught up on everything going on at BYU sports, and obviously getting you ready for that showdown against Stanford on Saturday night out there on the farm in Palo Alto. So for Clark, I'm Jake. Make sure you make your second listen to our friends over at the Locked On Big 12 podcast. Have a great rest of your day whenever you hear this. This has been the Locked On Cougars podcast. See ya.